Et voila, 2020 Glunz Tasting Hall. We are very excited to be hosting a relatively new partner in wine sales here at Los Glunz Wines. We have the wines of Domaine Clarence Dillon with their beautiful line of Clarendelle wines inspired by Aubryon. And with us today we have two people, one which is the newest as of June, perfect time, right, in COVID time. Nicolas Chemineau, the new export director for Domaine Clarence Dillon. And then, of course, the beautiful and ever so talented Morgane Renaud. Morgane, welcome, and Nicolas, welcome so much. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this screen. We're going to open up, as we do in every one of these tastings, a quick little shot through Google Earth. So we're going to go ahead and open with this beautiful shot, which most of us recognize, I hope. And let me just clear out. I've got way too many screens open here, of course. But we are going to be visiting today. We're heading out from our beautiful location here in Chicago, where it is a third day of fall. And we are going to hit a beautiful 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure what that is in Celsius, but it's a beautiful day.
Yes. It's a
So we are
Bordeaux, but
excellent. So let's sneak out. We'll head out across the Atlantic for one of the fastest flights available. Oh, I went the wrong way there. And here we are in beautiful France, in the southwestern corner of France. We find Bordeaux, and we're going to be zooming into Bordeaux. Here is a beautiful view of the entire region there, which we'll explore a little bit later. But we're going to jump down here to Domaine Clarence Dillon, which I love how they have that marked here. But we actually have to sneak over here past this little place, which some people might know as a little, let's see if I can sneak in here and drop this guy. Maybe you can recognize it from the front as Château Trigant. Unfortunately, I was told they're doing a little bit of facelift on the area to make it a visitor center. Is that correct?
yeah.
Excellent. So we've got the beautiful chateau there, and then we are going to sneak back out, and then down the road. And I think that this is where it's a little water tower, if I'm correct. And then this is the office that you guys are in. Wait.
Yeah.
Correct. Here we are.
And there we are. Fantastic. And with that, I will stop getting everyone dizzy. And welcome. Thank you, Nicolas and Morgane, for joining us today from Bordeaux.
Nice meeting you. Thank you for attending this wine presentation, and be very, very welcome in Pessac.
Fantastic.
Well, my name is Nicolas Chemineau. As you said, I'm export director for Clarence Dillon Wines. I'm very enthusiastic and very excited to attend this tasting, and thank you again for giving us the opportunity to present you and to invite you to Bordeaux for this nice tour. I'm 50. I'm very new at Clarence Dillon Wines, but I have more than 25 years experience in the wine industry in Bordeaux, which I'm more than happy to share with you. I will let Morgane present herself, and then after I will make a global introduction to Bordeaux.
So hello everyone, thank you so much for having us. We're very happy, as Nicolas said. I've been with Clarence Dillon for about 2 years, and so I actually did the launch of Clarendelle with Glunz, and I've I've visited Chicago many times, so I probably met some of you already. So we're very excited today to show you the full range and do this tasting, and we'll try to share some inside tips. Hopefully you like it. So Nicolas.
Okay, I'm sure you will, at least I hope. So as a global introduction, I would like to introduce you to a fantastic region, wine region, which is Bordeaux. First of all, as you have noticed from your wine list, menu, catalog, and so on, you can find vineyards all over the world. But still, our old Europe is producing more than 80% of the wine in the wine industry. So 80% is coming from Europe. From Europe, you have three main and big, let's say, producers, which is France, Italy, and Spain. When it comes to volume, it's more or less similar. But in value, France is by far number one. Then, if we make a focus in France, the leading vineyard, the leading wine area in France is Bordeaux, with over 100,000 hectares of vineyard. And that makes Bordeaux the leading appellation, the leading area of appellation wine in the world. Why? For, let's say, for a few reasons. First, history. I mean, wine has been produced in Bordeaux for centuries. Second is the terroir. What we call the terroir is the quality of the soil, which allow to grow some fantastic fruits, some fantastic grapes, from which we will produce some great wines. And then the third point is the climate. Bordeaux is located with a very specific climate, again, which is very quality oriented to produce, to grow fine grapes. Bordeaux is located on the 45th parallel. That means halfway between North Pole and Equator. So the temperature is never very warm, but never very cold. Amazingly enough, it's the same level as Oregon. You produce in the United States a lot of fantastic wines over there as well. And then in Bordeaux, I suggest to share with you the vineyard, the map of the vineyard of Bordeaux. Because Bordeaux, as I said, is located southwest of France. In fact, we speak about Bordeaux, but we do produce different kind, different style, and different profile of wines in Bordeaux. So the vineyard of Bordeaux is roughly 80 miles from the very south up to the north. Roughly the same, 80 miles from the east to the west as well, but with different kind of wine profile. And I invite you today for a trip inside Bordeaux, and we will discover tasting different wines from the different areas. So Bordeaux, the city of Bordeaux is a white part in the very central part of the vineyard. And then you have a river called the Garonne, which is passing by in the middle of the vineyard. And then in Bordeaux, basically you have the left bank and the right bank. The left bank is on the side of Bordeaux. So north part of Bordeaux on the left bank, which is a red part. This is what we call the Médoc Peninsula. In the Médoc, you find the fantastic wines like probably family, it will be family name to you, like Margaux, like Pauillac, like Saint-Estèphe, like Saint-Julien, Château Mouton Rothschild, for example. We produce only red wines over there, and the main varietal is Cabernet Sauvignon. So we will have a great example later on. Still on the left bank of the river, South Bordeaux, on the brown, orange area. This is what we call Grave and Pessac-Léognan, with a fantastic ambassador like Château Aubryon, which is probably the best example of the appellation. Pessac-Léognan is the best from the Grave area. In this area, we produce both white and red. And roughly the varietal is 50-50, 50 Cabernet, 50 Merlot. We'll go more into details afterwards. And then when you go to the right bank of the river, the purple area is Saint-Émilion and Pomerol, very famous, where we produce exclusively some red wines as well. The most famous ambassador over there maybe could be like Petrus, like Château Cheval Blanc, that you may know, Château Quintus, Saint-Émilion Grand Cru, just for as some examples. And you can notice that every single color produce different kind of wines, because it's not exactly the same terroir, it's not exactly the same climate, it's not exactly the same varietal as well. And the game we will do together later on will be to evaluate a different profile, maybe the one you prefer between the Médoc, the Saint-Émilion, and the Grave or Pessac-Léognan. Sorry, it's a very short, very global introduction to Bordeaux, but then we'll go more into details through the tasting within a few minutes.
So now I'll talk about more specifically the Clarendelle range and also the Aubryon, Mission Aubryon, and the Quintus estates. So the history is very interesting because it's a mix between France and the United States. So actually, Clarence Dillon in the 30s traveled to Bordeaux. He really liked France, so he traveled to Bordeaux and he discovered Château Aubryon, and he decided to purchase it in 1935. Today, the owner is his great-grandson, who's Prince Robert of Luxembourg. But going back to Clarence Dillon, so he purchased Château Aubryon, and his granddaughter, Joanne Dillon, purchased the Château Mission Aubryon, which is just across the street of Château Aubryon. Château Aubryon, I'll show you some pictures, is first classified growth in 1955. So let's see some pictures of the chateau. Very interesting. So unfortunately, I could not take you to the chateau because of the COVID. It's impossible to visit there. So I found some cool pictures I took to show you. Some inside tips. So this is the Château Aubryon. So it's just next to our office. Before you just saw our office, and this is just 5 minutes walking distance. That's inside the chateau when we're doing the tastings. And that's a picture of a tasting we did for the 2018 vintage. So we basically taste we produce reds and whites. This is not Clarendelle. And this is the Mission Aubryon, which is across the street. So this one has been purchased a little bit later by the family, as I told you. It has been purchased by the granddaughter of Clarence Dillon, Joanne Dillon. It used to be a cloister, as you can see. We have very nice gardens. And that's inside the chateau. And we even have some rooms if you come visit us. And we have a small church. So these are the two wines, Château Aubryon and Château Mission Aubryon. And so we have a newcomer in the family. The Prince Robert from Luxembourg purchased another estate in 2011. So Château Quintus, it's in Saint-Émilion. So this was the purple area we were showing before. It used to be actually two chateaus. He purchased the two estates, he merged them, and he created a new chateau. So it's called Quintus. It's Quintus because it means the fifth son We already had 4 chateaux, Aubryon, second label of Aubryon, Mission Aubryon, second label of Mission Aubryon. So Quintus is number 5. So let's go back to Clarendelle. Clarendelle was created in 2005. So it was the 17th anniversary of Domaine Clarence Dillon. And the idea was to have a wine that you could enjoy on a daily basis, because all the wines I named before are very high-end wines. Some of them are over $1,000 a bottle. So these are wines you enjoy on very special occasions. And the idea was to have something more approachable. You could enjoy younger and on a daily basis. So the Prince Robert came up with the idea of Clarendelle. The name of Clarendelle actually comes from Clarence, which is the second label of Aubryon, and L is for Chapelle, which is the second label of Mission Aubryon. So we will be tasting today 4 wines from the Clarendelle range. And in order to explain a little bit more about the Clarendelle, I'll show you a quick video.
Find the best wine.
So I hope this video helped you understand a little bit more about the Clarendelle wines and how they're made. So on this video, you met the winemaker of Aubryon, the enologist from Clarence Dillon Wines, and our CEO, and also people who work at Aubryon in the vineyard. So what if we started with the tasting? Are you ready?
I think that sounds like a great idea. I will also, if you email me the link for that video, which I believe is on the website, I will go ahead and include that link this afternoon with the follow-up email to everyone as well.
Absolutely, I will send it to you straight away. So we can start with the Blanc. I usually start the degustation, the tasting with whites. So this white is a 2018 Bordeaux Blanc. It's a blend of 3 grapes: Semillon, Sauvignon Blanc, and Muscadet. There is a lot of Semillon in it. It's actually Semillon based, which is not very common in Bordeaux. Usually it's more Sauvignon. So it's 43% Semillon. And then there's 40% Sauvignon and 17% Muscadet. What is nice is that each grape will bring something to this wine. The Semillon, I think it gives the body of the wine, when the Sauvignon gives the freshness and the crispiness, and the Muscadet gives very nice fruit aromas like lychee. It's also very floral, rose, for example. So this is a wine that you can keep thanks to the Semillon.
Cheers.
So in terms of pairing,
Santé. Sorry, I was on mute.
Santé.
Santé.
In terms of pairing, in Bordeaux, we drink a lot of white Bordeaux with oysters. Definitely, this is something we do all the time. Seafood, but not only it goes perfectly well with a grilled fish, but also like I would pair it with a Caesar salad.
Definitely. As Morgane said, in Bordeaux, you have 2 Bordeaux whites. You have 2 different profiles. The wines with dominant Sauvignon Blanc, the varietal, it gives a lot of freshness, acidity, very crispy wines. It's very trendy, but it's very acid. Some people love, but some people find it's a bit harsh. And here, what is very unusual for Bordeaux, and what I love, is thanks to the Semillon, then the wine has a very nice volume, and then you can match with some, even with some salmon, or with some fish, with some fat fish, even with some kind of poultry and some meat. White meat or veal, or even a creamy sauce. It's very, very, it's not aggressive at all. It's only seduction.
Let's go for the red. So red Bordeaux.
Before we sneak to the red, I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
Can you speak to a little bit about the vinification of the Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon, particularly any difference on picking date, fermentation vessel, and temperature?
We do harvest separately, obviously, Sauvignon and Semillon. Sauvignon are always harvested at first, because, as I said previously, the Sauvignon, we look for a lot of freshness, so acidity. So the earliest you collect the grapes, the more acidity you will get from the wine. That's a Sauvignon. And the Semillon, when you collect a bit, because you collect a bit later, then you have less acidity and more volume. That explains the different profile. And then usually what we do is in Bordeaux, this is a global process in Bordeaux to use to make a skin maceration, so maceration before the alcoholic fermentation to extract a maximum of the flavors at a cool temperature. So the alcoholic fermentation did not start so far, but then you extract a lot of flavors like fruit aromas.
And do you do that maceration on both the Sauvignon Blanc and the Semillon?
Usually we do. Then it's there are different parcels in the final blend, so the method is adapted online with the different parcels. But usually this is definitely something that we do to get additional freshness to the and flavors to the wine.
And also it's stainless steel, so there's no oak. The fermentation is in stainless steel.
Merci beaucoup.
The question.
I mean, our technical team that you met on the video, driven by you saw Nathalie Basso, our enologist, along with Jean-Philippe Delmas, you saw on the video. Thanks to our experience with Aubryon white, we have definitely a fantastic expertise when it comes to winemaking process for the white, because Aubryon white is definitely considered to be the benchmark when it comes to Bordeaux white wines, definitely.
Not only for quality, but also price.
Most probably it's connected. Should we switch to the red?
Oui, merci.
So, well, you are lucky. We are lucky because we tasted together Clarendelle Red. The vintage is, we speak about the vintage to start with. The vintage.
It's the Bordeaux Red,
yes.
The green label.
Exactly.
Tasting.
Yeah, green label. So the vintage is 2015, and obviously 2015 is one of the, along with 2016. Those two vintages are probably among the very best vintages ever produced in Bordeaux. So it's really, during those vintages, the weather was just perfect to collect the grapes in a very perfect conditions. The blend, but that's correct for the Grand Cru Classé, but also for the branded wines like Clarendelle. When it comes to the assemblage, here it's very Merlot oriented. We have up to 80%, a bit more than 80% of Merlot, which will give a lot of soft tannins and very round flavors, very red fruit orientation. Then we have 10% of Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet Sauvignon will provide, even though it's 10%, it will provide a very nice structure to the wine. And then you have a remaining, in fact, 7% of Cabernet Franc. The Cabernet Franc will give a freshness, revitalize the blend. And when we do produce Clarendelle, when most of our competitors, they collect the grapes, they do the winemaking process, they bottle and they sell immediately. It's not the way we proceed with the Clarendelle. So we keep the wine for 4 years minimum in our facilities, and then the wine gets some additional complexity, and all the tannins, which are very rich when the wine is young, all the tannins are fully integrated when the wine is offered on the market. And it's very unusual to have let's call it just a Bordeaux red with the vintage 15 on the market. Our competitors are on the 18 vintage, or which is only fruit driven, but that's it. And the claim of Clarendelle is to be, we want the wine to be balanced, to be elegant, and to be complex. And I think here it's exactly what we find. Balance is between the volume, even with the alcohol, for example, and the acidity. So it has to be well balanced. And I think this is the case with Clarendelle. The elegance, because to me the wine is not demonstrative, but it's very delicate. And the complexity is, we speak about a complex wine when you have different kind of flavors. For example, you have some fruit, red fruit, which starts to be a bit mature, but some fruit. Also some flavors of flowers flavors, but also some spiciness. And when you have different family of aromas, then we speak about complexity. And I think this is what we can enjoy in this tasting.
I believe the wine really benefits even in 2015, which is obviously still young, but it just benefits beautifully with a little bit of time open.
Definitely, definitely. It's a wine you can to enjoy even more. You can like most of the very nice, including the white. You can put it to a decanter. Definitely.
Absolutely.
The wine to show better oxygenation and help the wine to
Absolutely. Another amazing thing about both of these wines at the quality that we're talking, this is still just above $20 retail. So it's just the quality for the dollar is spectacular.
Definitely, and that was the initial reason why Clarendelle has been produced, has been created. It was to take the advantage of the expertise of a fantastic technical team of a first classing, and to be able to put on the market some wines that are accessible, that are affordable. And that's a key point, definitely. And we didn't speak about the food pairing. Basically, when you, to make it simple, if you have a very rich, very powerful wine, you can match with a very spicy food. And then when you have a more delicate wine, it's better to match with food with less spices. So this wine is not a monster it's not very powerful wine, it's very delicate, as we said, very elegant, but it's not very powerful. Afterwards, we will enjoy some more volume, some more spiciness. But this wine you can match with, first, without any food like we do. If you do enjoy like we do with Morgane, even with no food, just one glass of wine like this is just fantastic, and with good company. But also with food like meat, white meat, and you don't need any sauce or whatever too spicy, but grilled meat, or it could be even with a barbecue. It's a fantastic match, as long as the temperature is fine. Hope the temperature is fine for all of you, like it is here in Bordeaux.
And we'll go on to the 2016 Médoc.
The Saint-Émilion, it's the
Saint-Émilion.
So
I'll show you a quick, I'll show you the map again so that you can see where Saint-Émilion is, just to refresh your memory. So it was the purple area on the map I showed you before. Here you are. Nope. Sorry about that. All right, here we are. So Saint-Émilion is the purple area. It's very small compared to the Médoc, for example. The one you tasted before, the Bordeaux, the green label, the grapes could come from the whole Bordeaux appellation. The whole Bordeaux appellation is the colorful area. So it can come from the top north of the Médoc on red to the south of the Bordeaux appellation over there, and the eastern part, which is over Saint-Émilion and Entre-deux-Mers. So it's a very big area, and now we're talking about a small area in Saint-Émilion. So this is the soil in Saint-Émilion. So it's a lot of sandstone, as you can see here. There are actually a lot of caves in Saint-Émilion because they use the stones to build the buildings in Bordeaux. As you can see behind us, there are some stone walls, and this is the typical soil from Saint-Émilion and from Bordeaux area, actually. So this Saint-Émilion Clarendelle, it's also a blend of 3 grapes. As the previous wine we tasted, it's still Merlot based. A lot of Merlot, above 60%, with a Cabernet Franc that will give the freshness to the wine, when the Merlot would give a lot of roundness and fruits. And there is a little bit of a Cabernet Sauvignon, about 15%. It gives very smooth tannins and a lot of personality to this wine. So as we mentioned before, we have thank you, I'm glad you like it. As we mentioned before, we have an estate in Saint-Émilion called Quintus, remember the 5th son. So we use a little bit of our Quintus wines in this one, and obviously we use our expertise in the Saint-Émilion area to make this great Clarendelle wine. So let's taste it. So it's more complex than the Bordeaux we tasted before. It's very different. To me, the Bordeaux Clarendelle is something very round, very approachable, easy to drink. You don't need fruit to have a glass of Clarendelle Bordeaux. I usually drink it when I cook. And then the Saint-Émilion, it's something a little bit more complex, more powerful. But to me, the key word for this wine is elegance. I think it's very elegant. I would definitely pair it with lambs too. I think that would be the perfect match. Like all the grilled meat as well, but this is how I drink it.
It's here you have a very good example of what Bordeaux can produce, because the wine is much more rich. Saint-Émilion is much more rich than the previous wine we got, but extremely elegant as well. It's not a question of being very powerful with a high level of alcohol and just a bodybuilded wine. No, it's rich and very elegant, and that's a challenge. But Bordeaux is able to produce such a profile of wine, definitely.
Let's go for the Médoc. So the last one of the Clarendelle range, it's the blue label. So we didn't talk about the vintage, but the Clarendelle Saint-Émilion you just tasted is a 16 vintage. So it's actually a little bit younger than the Bordeaux 15 we tasted before. Both of them are 16, Saint-Émilion and Médoc. These are still very young wines with a great potential of aging, just for you to know. This is something you can keep 5 to 10 years from now without any kind of problem. And 16 is a very good vintage in Bordeaux. Perfect weather. Wines are very fruit driven, very enjoyable, even when they're young, as you can see. So
this exercise is very interesting because we are just jumping over the Garonne River, and we go from Saint-Émilion with the soil of clay and limestone. We jump on the left bank of the river and to face a very different terroir where you have a lot of gravels, like big stones.
So this is
Exactly, this
You
is.
can see.
It's a very, very quality oriented for the wine, but when you look at it, it looks very poor actually. Nothing can grow except vineyard, except Cabernet Sauvignon. Even though it's not that long distance, but the wine shows very differently. It's interesting to compare and to face because same, let's say, enologist and the same vintage. So the difference is just, you want to see the map maybe? Yeah. No? And then the Médoc is just maybe with less volume than Saint-Émilion, but more structure and more potential of aging. And that's a wine you can enjoy with grilled beef, like a T-bone, for example.
That's a perfect match.
And
a barbecue.
That's a solid wine. Very, I mean, we are all very enthusiastic with this wine because it's very accessible. But then it's a wine you are very proud to put on the table when you have some guests, and it's a solid wine.
There are usually two teams: the Médoc team and the Saint-Émilion team. Yes. Which team are you in? I'm the Médoc. This is where I grew up. So.
Oh yeah. I think it's
very different.
Yes,
it's
yes.
It's
a good question, and you know, I think it's very boring to taste always the same wine. So I would love to change and to enjoy some Médoc from time to time, and then to enjoy some Saint-Émilion as well, but to change.
Yeah, it depends what you eat.
When we go for dinner, okay, we'll have a Médoc. But then after, for some other occasion, I will enjoy Saint-Émilion definitely. Hope you see the difference. And again, Bordeaux is one name, but behind that you have very different profile of wine because different terroir. And this is a key point. And then, in order to finish our tour, our invitation in Bordeaux, we will taste a wine which is just next door to here. The appellation of Pessac-Léognan. So we stay on the left bank, south of Bordeaux, to taste.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again here. We'll just shoot out from where we are here. And hopefully you can see that.
Yep.
So here we are with the beautiful Château Trigant.
So you can see the Aubryon vineyard. It's on the picture. It's in the middle of the city. It used to be different, but then the city extended over and over. And now you see it's almost downtown. I live downtown and I use my bike to go to work every day. It's really close by.
And then we'll sneak out.
Because we're surrounded by houses. So now we're going to Trigant. So what's interesting at Château Trigant is that there is a very nice house in the middle, and then you have a vineyard, and it's only one plot. So it's mainly Merlot, 80%, and then there is 20% of Cabernet Sauvignon. So you see it's surrounded by houses as well.
So this tasting is very interesting, I think, because not only we visit some different wine profile, vineyard and terroir, but also the different wines produced in Bordeaux. In Bordeaux, you have some highly respected brands like Clarendelle, and also Bordeaux is famous for what we call the Château statue. And Château Trigant, we are tasting, is a small chateau with the vineyard just around the building, chateau itself, owned by a family, and they invite all the family to collect the grapes.
Oh, I have pictures of that. This is very, very nice. I'll show you.
And the vintage we taste is 15. So back to the previous vintage we tasted, we started with. The style of the wine is very connected, is exactly in line with the profile of the appellation. The appellation is very smoky flavors. When you taste this, you could imagine it's connected with barrel aging, but in fact, no, it's the taste from the terroir.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. It's not the aging flavor. It's definitely the terroir.
So your predecessor and I had the opportunity to taste a couple of years ago, just down the hall from where you are now, and we tasted through a large number of different wines, including the Trigant. And this wine just caught me after tasting probably 30 wines together. This one stood out and just kind of really screamed. Not only because of the great concentration and complexity, but just how smooth and balanced it was, and how expressive it was, even at its youth.
So during these 30 minutes, we have done a tour around Bordeaux, discovering the Médoc area, the Pessac-Léognan, south of Bordeaux. We went to Saint-Émilion. We had a chance to enjoy some white dry, some red. Again, we have plenty of other wines to present, and we would love to continue because in Bordeaux we are so proud to all the wines we do produce. But then we need to do some to think about the next tasting, which will be organized with you, and we need to keep some bottles to present to you.
Absolutely.
Do you see us still?
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Because we have
Fantastic. We've got
an
a
issue
couple more questions in there. Let's see. Alicia mentions this is a fabulous by the glass wine. Punches way above its weight, in my opinion. Alicia, I'm guessing that you are referring to the Trigant.
I
But,
agree. It's very nice by the glass wine.
Let's see. The taste is from the ground and not as much how it's aged or processed. The soil, it's fantastic. She understands that correctly, and yes, that's that smoky flintiness is from the soil of the region.
Yeah, definitely typical from the Pessac-Léognan area, like the spicy notes, smokiness.
Fantastic. It does spend 12 to 14 months in French oak. I mean, when you're in France, why would you use anything else, right?
Correct. Roughly it's one year.
Any other questions? Fantastic. Well, I think that is all the questions being asked. That is about everything that we have to present for everyone. So I would.
Also, if you have any question later, I'm happy to just send your questions to Joe, and I'm happy to respond to everybody. I will forward the video so that you can rewatch it. And yeah.
Great. And then I will also actually have you CC'd. I will have you both CC'd on the email follow-up either later this evening or this morning. And anyone who has any further questions or wants to contact you can just reply to that to you directly.
That sounds good.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, merci beaucoup. Thank you for sharing your early afternoon with us.
And, thank you so much, Joe, for having us.
Absolutely. Morgane, we'll see you later this evening for you, later this afternoon for us at our 2:30.
From my house.
Yes, and you know, Nicolas, if you wanted to join from your house as well, no problem.
Thank Thank you very much. Well, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you warmly because it's fantastic to have this tasting alive. Even though there is such a big distance on Google Maps, it looks next door. In fact, it's a significant distance. But thank you very much for making it happen. And I do remember a few phone calls during summer in August.
Yes.
Important to organize this tasting for you, and you were absolutely right. And thank you so much for making it happen. Because
well, I know I asked you guys while you were on holiday. I was pushing this itinerary. So I thank you for being there and taking my call and arranging all this when Morgane was on her holiday.
Thank you again. Next time it will be in Chicago.
Or Bordeaux.
Oh, Bordeaux, yes, you're right. All right.
We'll get a plane and just come on over there. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for joining us today, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.